And then we are ready to roll. Let me live notifications, paste that. Yo, what's up, Bound Bob? What's up, Double? All right, I have notified Discord. I should be live everywhere. We should be ready to roll ahead of the episode 27 pre-show. What's up, Rick? Link, what's up? What's up? Bound Bob, Hubert, Dragon Drake, Sherry, everybody. Yo, what's up, Chicken Wizard? What's up, Better? Welcome in, guys. Hopefully I get a wave of energy. I once again went and played soccer for 2 hours, hour and a half, and then came home, showered, stuffed food in my face, and here I am. So my lower half feels crazy. Yo, yet it is over on Twitch this time. Interesting. Bidet. Happy Thursday. So ready for tonight? Let's go, Goober. New animatic this week is great. It shows Cat against Figure at City Gate. Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. Hello, Daisy. Welcome in. Allie, hello. WB, what's up? Oh, hey, this is on. It is. It is, in fact. Here we are. Tonight's going to be crazy. I expect we will see some pretty wild things. I do expect tonight to be kind of wild. What's up, Andrew? You said you want to do the soccer thing again. I wanted to play. This is the least sore I've been coming back since I got, I started to try to play again. But it's even more funny that, yeah, and as Brendan was like, this was supposed to just be one roll, and here we are. That was a more authentic D&D experience, though, right? Like, that felt more like something you may actually have at your table, or at least tables I've been in. Jaden the Bard, what's up, dude? So sorry, headphone notification pop at the same time, so I must have hit the Twitch one. No, dude, you can be wherever you want. Yet it is. It's not a complaint in any way, shape, or form. I just acknowledged it because it said first time chatter, and I was like, you're not new. And then I realized you were on Twitch. I'm telling you, Azune's in hot water. I think he's going crazy in this one because it was kind of hinted at in my interview with him that he had a scene coming up where he gets pretty heated, emotional, whatever. And in the thumbnail of this one, he looks pretty heated and emotional. So I'm expecting we're going to get him kind of going crazy a little bit in this one. I'm intrigued. Daniel says, excited about the Andy Serkis Vox Machina news. He will be playing. My bet is Vecna or the Whispered One. Everybody that's responded has basically said that. Everybody's thought Vecna or the Whispered One, basically. Soreness is good, though. It means you're gaining some muscle. This isn't necessarily that type of soreness. I know that soreness. I'm familiar with that one. This is more of the like, ow, I tweaked my hip flexor and my abductor and my hip. And yeah. I might have to rewatch last week's episode. I was cracking up so much. I think I missed half of it. It was very humorous. Last week was definitely a lot of the giggles, which again, they acknowledged. Everybody kind of was like, yeah, this was a giggly one. Everybody back in the same room, having a good time. So we'll see if they kind of settle into this one. I'm curious about that. What's up, Alfie? I hope Azune isn't willingly walking into a trap. I'm worried Otto might side with Taconis. Even with, I don't think it's a trap. Like, I'm not saying that like they may not, like he might not get in trouble, but I don't believe it's a trap. Like, I don't think he's been put in a trap. Like, it's a set trap. That's not how I think this is this one's coming across. But could still go poorly. How much trouble is Taisha going to be in disregarding her grandma's summons? Well, I wouldn't say disregarding so much. She's just putting it off a little bit, right? She's just like, let's go back to Damakiar first, because again, they all need to go back to Damakiar. But yeah. Yo, what's up, Paul? Welcome in. Yay, it's surely time. It is Biko. It is. You guys, Biko came in here real early. Like 5 hours ago early. Daniel says, Azune and Julian meeting this episode will be very interesting. I hope so. I hope it's good. Maryland says, I love Azune, but that level of emotion is hard for me to watch. Personal reasons and I too tab. Yeah, it's not for everybody. It's certainly not for everybody. Welcome over to YouTube. Yet it is. Okay, here I am. Link Journey says, last week's episode was getting everybody back to Dalmakiar. This episode will be the start of the crap hitting the fan. Agreed. What's up, Dane? I'm so ready for the play. Yeah, I'm going to assume we get that tonight, right? Like, I don't know how they would fill a 3 to 4 hour, 4.5 hour episode potentially if it's not getting us to the play. Although when you have 13 players, time doesn't pass by as fast when everybody's in discussions and doing all that stuff. I hope they got a lot of the catching up stuff out last time. But to be fair, the Seekers are bringing back stuff that the others don't know. So I feel like we're going to have to deal with that again. So not sure how I'm feeling about that, but at least they have some interesting stuff to share. What's up, AKA? Let me scroll up. Love everyone yelling at each other. Yeah, just trying to like speak over each other got intense. Daisy says, I'm excited to see how Taylor potentially interacts with his brother or finding out more about his past in general. Same. I want to know, does his brother actually know anything, or did he just get captured and turned to stone? Right? I'm going to assume Brendan's going to use him as some sort of a plot device where he's going to have heard something, but I don't know how much. Lights Aurora, thank you so much for that follow on Twitch. I appreciate that. What's up, Sunken Train? Welcome in. Better Sand says, Dispel's animation for the last episode was absolute layers. I haven't seen it yet. I plan to, but I haven't quite watched it yet. Dispel will probably be in here in a bit, I would assume. Kevin says, what if it's a Red Wedding / Game of Thrones situation where the Einfasen are actually good but get wiped out after Azune's arrest? I think that's possible. I actually think the Einfasens have the right head on their shoulders. Like they want to do like the right thing in a way. And the Taconis may be willing, if they detect that, be like, hey, let's remove them from the equation, kind of like they did with the Royces. I think this is the start of the Azune heel turn. Oh yeah, Paul? I think this is where he becomes the bad guy. Goober says, I'm so scared for Azune, to be honest. Hope he brings back up at least. I get the feeling Einfasen will decide whose side they are on based on his case. I don't think I think that they believe it. They just know that they probably can't do anything without proof. That's my take. I think the Einfasens want to catch the Taconis, and they believe the Taconis have done things, but they're not going to act on it if they can't have proof to back them up. That's how I'm interpreting it, personally. Daniel says, one danger for Azune is that the Argosians were staying at the Stall Keep, which is that's also true. If they're really involved in the attack, it might be ambushed there. Yeah, they are staying there. Jägermeister says, I feel like Azune is going to present all the evidence and the houses are still going to side with House Taconis given the trailer, probably ending with Dimmitus dying. Well, he's presenting to them that he's not doing it at the meeting, is he? Like the meeting with all the other houses. I thought this was kind of like his own sort of thing. Like they were meeting with him first to determine if there was stuff. That's at least how I took that, but I could be wrong. Yo, what's up, Famine? The Einfasens will destroy all the evidence. You think so, Narvelin? That'd be crazy. Yo, what's up, Debs? How are you, my friend? Can keep up with last week's episode. I'm hoping this week's episode is a wee bit less hectic. Last week was very hectic. It was a fun watch if you're just there for like the giggles. But I will tell you, as the note taker who like makes recaps, it was hectic. It's Grace Ann says, what do we think the next table focuses will be? Seems like Taisha needs to go to Delrunga. Julian needs to save his sister. Obviously, some will stay to be schemers. Yeah, the whole they're gonna go to the Golden Orchard thing was like one that I thought was most locked in, and now I'm like, oh, that's actually not going to happen anymore. So now I'm a little less certain. I'm a little less certain about what the groups are going to be. Famous, what's up? How's it going? All got to be at work at 5 a.m. So I'll be watching tonight and attempt to get some sleep, but hope it's a good one. Hope everyone has a great night. Hey, all right, sounds good. House for us to go to the photo. Yeah, I did. Well, that's where we kind of left off, was he was going there. So we'll get to see that meeting. We will get to see that meeting since he's going there. Tainted Dragon, what's up? Bidet from Friday, almost noon in New Zealand. A reminder, Louise loves to tear our hearts out every time he's played. That's very true. That's very true. I think we're going to get him pretty emotional tonight. What's up, Emma? Lights on Twitch says, Seeker's Table was my least favorite, but I did think it was extremely unfinished. It had to take a lot of fast travel to get back to the Democare. Oh, 100%. 100%. Did you said that on YouTube, right? And then you moved over to Twitch? Which isn't a problem. I was like, I'm pretty sure I read that message. From a different account. Taliesin was talking like the other tables might potentially mess up what the schemers have been so carefully building. I wonder when we're going to get the Jenga. I don't know. Zaya says, do we think we're losing one of Hal's kids? I worry for how in it two of them seem to be with everything. Yeah, I don't know. I'm quite curious. Because I think the whole thing was, you know, Hal said Brennan has to give, or Liam said Brennan has to give Hal a reason to leave, right? He has to kind of run him at it. But I feel like he's already kind of willing to get involved. He's already involved. So I don't know that there has to be some traumatic with like a child loss or something, right? I feel like at this point it would almost feel forced. But that's just how I take it. I feel like they don't need to. I feel like if he was still very like, I don't really want to do this, I don't really want to be a part of this, I'd be like, okay, fair, you gotta make him. But he seems like he's already in it. So I just feel like that would just be like an extra thing. So, yeah. Seekers still have to meet up with everyone. Thimble, Julian, Thimble will make some for good. Yeah. The Seekers meeting everybody, I think, is going to be interesting. I feel bad for Ingrid Einfoss and being Julian's mole getting strung along. Yeah. I mean, I don't really, but she's fun. Yo, what's up, Kaylee? What's up, Ruben? Welcome in, welcome in. Schemers at the best at the table right now, but it's still too early to call. Yeah, I mean, I think they had the best arc overall. I think that it was the most enjoyable arc. Which I've said for a number of reasons why I think that is. Goober says, Ingrid mentioned that Einfossen was trying to marry her off to a Taconis. He didn't invite Royce to the... Yeah. That her mom is trying to set her up with Ethrin Taconis, which, haha, about that. Jaden the Bard says, Nerdcore, do you have any tips or tricks for people trying to get into consecration? My play group is considering recording our session to put them up on YouTube. Curious about do's and don'ts. I would just not. Personally, I would just not. So if you're just doing it for fun and you want to like make something, throw it up on YouTube, advertise it the best you can, make clips of your show and put it out there. Yeah. Try to do something somebody else isn't doing, or do it better than the way they're doing it. Would be what I would say. But I mean, I've never been in an actual play, so I'm not like the one to speak on that. Better Sand says, I feel like they are going to find more petrified people and need those doses they skipped out on for a quick fix on Taylor's brother. I don't know. I do question it because of the fact that Brennan did say like you could get more. So I'm like, but I think that's also because they're probably going to come across more of them, right? Like I think they're going to have more folks that I don't know if it's like right now. I think they're going to come across more basilisks, right? Like that sort of thing is what I mean. So they may need them in the future, but I don't know that it's going to be like right here in the city. So like, oh, there's a petrified person, right? Floyd, what's up? Einfossen feels neutral compared to Royce is good, like they are self-interested, but not as much as Taconis. Yeah, I think that because they're so straightforward and literal, they're more neutral. They are. They're just kind of like, all right, did you break the law or not? Did you do something bad or not? We're going to determine everything based on that, right? I think that they are kind of that. I agree, Floyd. Vlad, what's up, dude? Astri, hello. All I really know is I'm still scared for Ozane, and it's been a week. Yeah, I know. Everybody's been saying that so far. Winclair, what's up? Welcome in. Lil Bun, hello. If that is true, the Einfossen have this tenuous alliance with the Taconis is the best move right now. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they want the Taconis. I think basically every house accepts that the Taconis are not good. It's just a matter of what can we do about it. And can the Taconis convince them that, like, hey, if you let the people rise up, you don't maintain power anymore, which is what we heard in that speech before, like in the trailer for the Convergence. Winclair says, do we think Azune, Valus, and Tayor will be turned to stone this week or next, as per the screen cap on episode 27? Are they turned to stone in the thumbnail? Or are you just playing around? Because they're not stone. I agree, Einfosen's hearts are in it, but they're like, we've got to do this right. And yeah, that's my take. Before the meeting, that's what I thought, Emma. Wow, am I that far behind on chat? In regards to Convergence 2, I have a feeling the episode will end mid-play. It's too big of an event with too much opportunity for unexpected things, whether it's combat or some big reveal or some other complication. And with the way that the Halavar are trying to influence the nobility with their tales of resurrection, the play presents a really good opportunity to influence opinions a second time with the general populace, not to mention machinations of other sundered houses. Yeah, I don't know if it'll end in the middle of it, but yeah. To answer your question over on TikTok, Cray, how lost am I going to be tonight if I didn't watch last week? Last week was a lot of catch up. So all you really need to know from last week, one, you have time to go watch my recap on YouTube right now. It's about 23 minutes long, covers the whole episode. So you can do that. You've got an hour or 2 hours to go watch a 23-minute video. But if you don't want to do that, everybody showed up to town and they exchanged some information. There was some flirting between Julian and Ingrid, who showed up and spilled some new information about her family traveling, but they weren't sending a letter to the Royces, so maybe they knew about what happened to the Royces. And Azune needs to go meet with the Einfosens and bring any evidence he has of Takona's wrongdoing before the Sundered Houses meet the next night. I think that's basically it. Is Azune's sister inflicted with race touch, or did I totally misread that whole thing? I mean, I think you're just connecting it to the idea that, like, her face looked odd, but the way that they were describing race touch is, like, your limbs kind of start disappearing, and then the rest of you kind of fades into, like, a spectral form or something. It's kind of how I was reading it. Rubber Room Rat says, would it even matter if Einfosen finds Takonas guilty? I don't think other houses would do anything. I think they might. Like, if they, like, showed hard evidence, I think it would come more to a head, where people had to make the decision of, like, do we care about wrongdoing or not? Right? He basically said, like, if they end up killing him or if something happens, like, that's a risk he's willing to take, Dragon. Yeah, Azune said that. Paul says, I think the Einfosen will be like Julian's mother. They're desperate for patronage and are looking for a place to land. Okay. So you think they'll either go with one or the other, like Halavars or Takona sort of thing? Ruben says, I'm curious but worried for Azune. I feel like the Einfosen could easily manipulate him and get rid of all the evidence if they don't feel the evidence is enough. I don't know if that would be so interesting if they got rid of it instead of just being like it's not enough. Yo, what's up, City Honors? Welcome in, welcome in. Party Steve says, in regards to the Takonas and Einfosen, if Azune fails to give sufficient evidence, it wouldn't shock me if the Einfosen then offered him over to the Takonas as a good faith gesture to get one. Wow, I don't know. I guess I don't feel that the Einfosen are as, like, bad as you guys do. Wait, so why is the Golden Orchard not the option anymore? Well, before it was an unknown thing, right? Julian wanted to go to figure out what happened. Was his family alive? His mom and his sister. Lady Aranessa had gone there, so he was going to go after her potentially. Thimble would want to go find out because she's a fairy. But now we've been told, like, yes, they did attack it. Yes, it was destroyed. But, like, you know, we won. So they're like, they don't need to go there anymore, right? All the reasons where it was kind of like a mystery, they got the answers. So they don't really need to go. That's what I mean by that. What evidence does Azune actually have? Octus, Julian, Dimidus' statements in a candle. Some visions. Yeah. Yeah, I moved around. My bad. No worries. No worries. I'm so far behind, guys. God, I hate when I fall this far behind. The Dimidus piece is what makes me think Azune is turning. There's a key piece to provide to any of the Sundered Houses. Okay. Kevo, what's up? Mercurial, what's up? Came in late, so sorry if you already got this one, but do you think a group will stand on Makyar? I wasn't thinking so until we got the map. There are so many places we haven't been to. I think yes. I think that group might change. I think, for instance, maybe now Wick decides to stay in town and, like, work against his family or, like, you know, do some stuff. But I imagine somebody probably sticks around on Makyar. Yeah. Sorry, I'm skipping through some that I don't think I have to, like, give a response to that are more just statements. Robbie was MVP of last episode. The thing is, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say MVP, Ash. Like, he had a funny scene, and that was the only scene he had in a, what, 3.5 hour episode. One of my complaints about last week was that, like, 2-3 people, I know Robbie and Travis for sure, basically were non-existent, right? They spoke like 50 words combined between the two of them across the entire episode. Azune bringing in Dimitis is Azune basically saying I'm working against the houses. Kaylee says Einfausen wanted to meet with Azune before the meeting with all the Sundered Houses. I don't feel like there's any ill will coming from it. I don't think there is either. I don't think there is any. But doesn't mean bad things can't happen. But I don't think they're coming into it with like a bad thing. I definitely think how low-key committed to the fight when he killed Belair in for a copper. Yeah, I think he's committed. I don't think you have to do that stuff. Alex's reaction when he heard Etherin's name mention the connection with Ingrid was priceless. He almost choked on his street. Yeah, it's like, well, about that. Not so sure Etherin's in the picture anymore. You're welcome. I think Taisha's son sounds like the family member most in danger. Aligar? Ruben says, I don't think house kids are in immediate danger, but maybe if Hero gets more involved, especially as overheard the actual goings on. Yeah, again, if she gets involved. Oh, my Joshy, what's up? Welcome in. Azune is cooked if he goes to that meeting with no get out plan. Well, again, guys, he's not going to the meeting of the Sundered Houses. He's going to present evidence to the Einfausens, and maybe they bring, like, I don't know, the Cormorants in, because the Cormorants are also looking at the Taconas, because they've been, like, the Taconas were framed for Lady Cormorant missing. So maybe they bring them in. I wouldn't be surprised if it was those two houses. But here's going to come in a clutch when least expected. That would be cool. Didn't the Seekers? Yes, they did, Marissa. Yep. The Seekers have potions for anti-petrification. They have a couple of them. Party says, proof, double standard. I wonder what sort of proof the Dakonas have offered that the Royce have absconded from their duties of a Sundered House. The non-Gala back to Ferry angle is weak. Yeah, I wonder if that's it, where they're like, oh yeah, we didn't send them a letter because they went back to Ferry. Yeah, they left a note. And it's like, that's it? Like, you guys were all just like, cool. Einfausen doesn't seem to have a capital P plot. They're just maneuvering around with the other houses. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Remethus says, the Seekers have at least 4 doses of Basilis's antivenom, right? I don't remember the exact numbers. Yo, what's up, Mira? AVPH, welcome in. Says, the Seekers have an antidote in their position. Yep. Kathy Johnson, hello. Welcome in. Good to see you. Everybody who's returning, welcome back. If you're new, welcome to the stream. Give it a thumbs up. Everybody, actually, give it a thumbs up. Throw something in the chat. All that stuff helps. Subscribe if you haven't already. Well, Ruben, to answer your question about the House Cormorant, that's because the person who I think was the most active, like the face of House Cormorant, got a mask on her face and sucked into a chest. So they kind of went on the back foot. Jaeger says, Valus did lose a lot of steam for the beginning few episodes. To be fair, she got what she was after right away, and everyone has been very accommodating. She has no reason to be standoffish. I liked that Valus more. I wish that it would have been a more gradual turn. Especially because, again, she has other reasons to still be kind of like distant. Like, she's the only one who wants to bring the gods back, and all these people. She's around a bunch of people who don't like the gods and want them gone, and she's like, I want to bring mine back, right? Like, that's a pretty massive difference. Zaya says, do we think that the Photarch will want to add the resurrection scene to the play? Well, the play has to do with like a rebellion of orcs, so that would feel kind of out of place, but maybe. I think there is a chance that all of them will get chased out of Damakiar and all 3 groups will go on the run. That's certain. It's definitely going to be a possibility. Yeah, Daniel, the Einfausen seem to be just kind of like that neutral, we're just going to go with the rules sort of thing. Oh, I got you in, Claire. I understand. Kilgore says, Nerdcore, my favorite recap. LaBuffin is very close second. You two have similar excellent style. Well, I'm glad you enjoy both. Happy to hear it, Kilgore. Sorry, I'm skipping through some of the messages. I feel you, Ophidian. Yeah, I feel you. Failing 22 says, then if the Einfasen and Demakir go into the Conus, but Otto is trying to tie with him, that can lead to house inside conflict. Well, Otto's going to be there. So I guess that would, I mean, he has the final say. I don't think that the Einfasens go without him, right? Like, I don't think they're like, we think this. Like, the houses follow their leaders as far as we know. Gab says, I wonder if we might get more insight on Belair's siblings now that Terminus is possessing Lady. Well, we learned a little bit in the tailgate, but not a ton. Hello, Edwin. In regards to Hal, Terran over on Twitch says, Hal still has the most ties to Demakir out of everyone. He has family, friends, not just a job, but his own business with other people's lives depending on him. None of the other schemers have as many ties specifically to the city, rather than certain people who happen to be in the city and other PCs. If any of the other schemers are fired, become unemployed, they have very few explicit reasons to stay, rather than joining with another table. Yeah, he is kind of the boss, though. So, like, they finish the play, the big gig that they have coming up, and then he can be like, hey, run this for a while I go, like, that sort of thing. I still don't think he's, like, super tied to the city. I get what you're saying, though. He does have a lot of relationships. I just think we've explored them more than maybe, like, I'm sure Murray has a ton, too, right? Azune has a ton within the guards and all that, and they have families and stuff, right? John Hader is confirmed as another guest star for Vox Machina Season 4. Oh, very cool. On falling behind in chat, because I heard you say you hate getting this behind, it shows how popular the channel is becoming. So we'll be complaining the chat moves too fast. You know, who knows? Who knows? Agreed with Travis and Robbie, they look so bored. Yeah, well, yes. Robbie looked a little more engaged. Travis did look bored. But they didn't really talk. I'm glad that I called it about eagles being used as fast travel, and that paint on bloods on swords is a bad thing. Really excited about this episode. Did we know that the blood on swords is a bad thing? Definitely a great recap you gave us. Well, thank you. Rob is way too quiet. I mean, to be fair, his character was kind of like that. Someone's using my name. So I'm not blaming Robbie for being quiet. Like, his character is kind of like that. But I also feel like when you have that many people at the table, even if, like, he did try to say something once or twice, you get talked over and then he just kind of falls back. So, yeah. Elmer, hello. Can't wait to see what the meeting with King Gus brings. True. I am excited for that. The meeting with King Gus and, like, kind of relaying the information. Like, imagine, like, King Gus is there. He's still kind of suspicious, all that. And then Murray's like, yo, she wasn't really dead. This was all fake, blah, blah, blah. That's big for the leader of a nation, right? That, like, fought for their independence and, like, became, like, that's pretty big. Like, I think that's going to have a lot of impact. Witchy Joe says, just getting in, trying to get back in gear with C4 after watching C3 on Tuesday. Oh, were you at the live show? Nice. I think best chance for Azune is present what he has, take it or leave it. Better just say to Einfasen, just stay on side with the bad guys and look out for stuff themselves if they're neutral, as they say. They also, so the Einfasen also kind of think Azune is like somebody he's not to a degree, so. Kevin says, the 3 paladins and thumbnail seems like a threat. Is Brennan planning to use them as a replacement for Teor's brother? I'm gonna guess Azune, if things get bad, will offer himself up. I don't think so. I don't think so. Eugenie says, Hal's meeting with the Photarch seems much more dangerous than Azune's. I would agree with that. I would agree with that, actually. I think Hal's is a little more risky, but I don't think either one of them, like, I don't think Hal is going to be attacked by the Photarch, like, outright, and I don't think Azune is going to be attacked by the Einfasens. Maybe I'm naive. I don't know, but I don't think so. Etherin was the one that killed Octus, right? Isn't he still around? Wait, then who am I thinking of? Who did he, Who did they kick off the bridge? Because that's who I'm thinking of. So yeah, I guess I did mess that up. But still, either way, like Etherin, yeah. Still and about that, just different. You think Travis and Robin were disinterested in the episode, or just leaving space for others? Travis is on his phone. Yeah, well, again, that's what I'm saying. Is it just seemed like a bit disinterested, because there's a gap. There's a lot of yeah. I want to know more about the sea door that was mentioned so briefly. Yeah, well, we're getting close to it. It was Franz. It was Franz. That's who I'm talking about. So yeah, that's on me. I mean, either way, the about that still stands, right? Because it's like, ooh, he's a very bad guy. Like, you ripped, he killed his brother, sort of thing. But it is not who I was thinking. I got the names confused. Yeah, the sea door, I feel like, is probably this Sea of Lacris connection, perhaps. If I'm correct about Milani Nayar, I want to shout out on the recap vid. What about her? Oh, that you think she has Wraith's thing or whatever? I wonder if we have the opportunity for Thimble to confirm or deny Belair's story to Hal. That'll be interesting. Oh, about where he's like, your brother blackmailed me or whatever. Like, he wasn't a good person. Yo, what's up, Connor? What's up, Bull? Does anyone think that the meeting Azune is going to a trap? A lot of people seem to think that. I don't. I think the Einfausens are honest that they want to see what evidence he has, because they would like to be against the Taconis, but they need evidence. What's up? Maybe not. Balkalt says, I feel like the Taconis are making a big play and everyone else will need to choose sides. I agree. Yeah, again, Ash, I don't blame them, but it was a noticeable thing. Like, it was noticeable how they like never talked and Travis was like on his phone and stuff. I can see Sid getting set free, only being mistaken for Teor and arrested. Yeah. The Loy family isn't a sundered house. Oh my Joshy, they're not a sundered house. Mitchell says, hey, Nerdcore, question. Since Taisha still didn't level up in last episode, do you think that she will level up tonight or at least before the end of the Convergence? Probably. Probably, yeah. What did I think of the tailgate episode? Same thing as I thought of the first one. I think they should do more of the questions from the community. They spend an hour answering pre-written questions that could just be a video, because why is it live if it's just pre-written questions? And then they spend 30 minutes answering 4 questions from the community. So if I would just flip that. I would give them more time to answer questions from the community. This one was a little different. It felt like they went off into like tangents and started kind of like talking amongst themselves about different things. When there's, I mean, if you're in the Beacon Discord, the questions. I mean, there's so many questions pouring in. And when they only get to a couple because they're going on like random things that, when they're like joking around and like it's not about that, I just think a lot of people don't get the opportunity, even though this is supposed to be like, hey, it's an opportunity to like get to get your questions answered. So what I would adjust is I would swap it. If you want to advertise the whole thing to the public to get them to join Beacon, then do 30 minutes of that and an hour of answering Beacon people, not the other way around. But I don't run the show. It's completely up to them, and people still like it. So, that's just my take. Hoping to get Octus Thimble reunion this episode. I would be shocked if we didn't. IRL Noob says, did Azune pick a sorcerer subclass yet? Yeah, he do. We just don't know it. But I think it's going to come out. I think it might come out today or tomorrow. Yo, what's up, Dispel? Matchstick Malone on TikTok says, Viva La Dirt League responded to me last night, and D&D liked my comment. Yeah, D&D called me out. Me and Viva La Dirt League in the same one. They're like, hey, you guys, or something like that. Yeah. All right, I'm skimming through some stuff to try to catch up on chat. Party Steve says Convergence will probably see a group try to rescue Mara the Wing before the Convergence ends, or that's what they do next, whoever stays in. But I also think Mara the Wing needs to be rescued. Wraith's touch with his missing limb. I don't know. That would be interesting. I'm pretty sure with the limb thing, I think Robbie has said that it was just like it lost a limb and they managed to like put it together that way, like the spectral sort of prosthetic. I don't think it's tied to that. Should Ozzy bring Julian and Dimittis to the meeting with the Einfosens? Well, he hasn't seen Julian yet, so maybe that changes things, but maybe, yeah. Maybe Octus. And Octus gets to say, like, yeah, they killed me. So we'll know more about what evidence he can bring once everybody is actually met, you know? Regarding King Gus, do we know what the new portents are for Murray? I don't think so. The Seekers have so much evidence in all the letters. Also true. Again, the Seekers showing up and actually passing things on could change things dramatically. All right. I'm skimming. I think it was trying to say that like somebody was trusting him and to like use that. Yo, what's up, David? Threw a rocket at us when they were kids. Got it. No. So Eugenie, so when I brought this up, and we were doing, I was just like playing Baldur's Gate. I think we were talking about it. Eugenie, I even said that like, yes, it looked like that, but I was like, you can find, this is kind of how Travis is at the table in like every campaign. So I did mention that when I talked about it previously, like that him sitting there, like, you know, not seeming interested is kind of, it's just how he is at the table. It's not like that episode was bad to him or something like that. That's not how I mean that at all. But it was just noticeable, and when you add in so many people at the table and stuff. Yo, what's up, Stephanie? All right, I'm skimming. I'm trying to catch up on chat. Yo, what's up, D&D nerd? Daniel with a $5 super chat. Will the United group have to deal with the fallout from Lady Cormorant's disappearance? Still waiting for those shoe to drop on that. I imagine if it comes to light, like if the Taconas can prove they had nothing to do with it, or something happens with the box, yes. I think they might have to be, like, answer for that. But right now, it's like, how would anybody know that she got sucked into a box into another dimension, right? Like, I don't know how they could possibly get that. Cameron, welcome in. Says 67 episode Convergence is a welcome surprise. I mean, we don't know that will be, like, the Convergence will be 6 to 7 episodes. That would be crazy. Is it far-fetched to suspect Wick's mother is Hollis's mistress? That would surprise me. I don't know if anything's far-fetched, but it would surprise me. White says, long weekend away from home for extended holidays, so time to plunder my Critical Role food plunder in 5 days on my... All right. Heck yeah, first time chatter on Twitch. Welcome in. Werald says, love your videos, but Brennan excels at court intrigue. I would be let down if a House Einfosel was not plotting. Alzin is walking a trapper they're about to attack. But, I mean, so he excels at court intrigue. Bro, there's like 4 houses that are doing stuff, right? Like, the Royce had their main stand. The Taconas are making big plays. The Halavars are making big plays. The Cormorants were doing something. The Einfosens are like becoming the guards of the city. So, like, they're doing something. I just don't think they're doing, like, bad guy stuff necessarily, right? Like, that's my take. I just don't think that they're like gonna slaughter Azune for bringing like evidence to them. Like, I don't know. All right, I'm skimming to try to catch up. Skimming. Oh, Dispel, that's terrible, dude. Steven says, with everyone back in the city, I'm hoping that things pick up this episode. Yeah, well, I think we're going to get the Seekers relaying all their information this episode. You know, we didn't knock it out in one episode. We did, last week, we got the Seekers, the Schemers and Soldiers relaying information between each other, which there wasn't that much new information. But the Seekers actually have quite a bit. And the Schemers also can share stuff with them. So I feel like we may get some of that stuff in there. JP says Azune's HP increase confirms draconic blood. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of accepted that's probably what it is. But he hasn't outright, like, it hasn't been confirmed, right? Like, he hasn't said it. He hasn't revealed it, even if, like, most people have accepted, like, oh, yeah, that's it. Between the HP and the alter self and whatever, yeah. Whoa, really says, I don't think Einfausen is neutral, mainly because they knew the Royces weren't invited to the big meeting, and that's why I wish Azune would have inside checked him. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the only thing that I consider suspicious, but it might have also been that they were told, like, the house has given up and gone back to Fairy, and they don't want to be a part of it. But, I mean, that is where my doubts come in from, that exact point. Well, yeah, I would say. What's up, Tahoe? Yo, what's up, Monday? With all the curse talk, I'm getting impatient with the Julian curse reveal. Yeah, I feel like that just went quiet for a little bit. Tanda Dragon says, will anyone leave with King Gus for Timony? I mean, it's either got to be a full party. I don't think they'd be like, hey, all right, you're going with, you know. Miros, what's up? I think the story is painting to be all the noble houses against the populace in a race for power. Well, yeah, well, that's what Taconis is, like, preaching to them in that trailer for episode 26. Or the Convergence, right? He's literally like, if we give them what they want, then we end up losing our power, right? Yo, Bound Bob, thanks for gifting a membership. Appreciate that. What's up, Boise? I think the Seekers will likely just turn to Octus and he will mutter through the story of his family's plans. Completely possible. Now that all the tables are in one place, any idea for tonight's cold open? I would imagine they either just do... It's either going to be a flashback, which is likely, or they just cut in because there's 3 tables, and they don't do a cold open because there's 3 people together, like they're all in the city. But it flashback otherwise, I would imagine. Because really, I mean, yeah, last week was the cold open of the Seekers, but it was really just the Seekers continuing, like, you know, like it led them right into the episode. So I don't really know if last week, like, that was a cold open. I think we'll get something similar or a flashback. Yo, what's up, Solace 420? Welcome in. Chitali, welcome in. Do you think they will attempt to have all players in a combat at once? No. No, I don't. Not even in the slightest. That'd be a nightmare. I have a theory that we might find out about a second set of Tacona's twins at the naming convention of the bones of the brain case part of the skull. Well, it could just be those kids haven't been born yet. Where's Morrigan? Do we know? I think they said that she was captured or taken to the manor, like the Taconis Manor, Oberman Manor or something like that. Thoughts on Lady Cormorant in terms of combined potential BBEG? I don't think that'll be the BBEG of, like, the campaign, unless it's like Rawin took over the body. Then maybe. I think Theozy saw Mara. Oh, 100%. My theory with that is Theozy was going to break the glyph, which was a fake, so it wouldn't have worked. But his plan was to break the glyph thinking he was going to survive. But then he saw Mara, and she messaged him, was like, yo, I didn't get into the underworld. So he was like, guess I'm going. Peace. And that's when he realized he had to die, which is why he was, like, shocked. He was like, oh, crap, Mara didn't make it in. She's supposed to be able to go through the veil. I have to go. And that's why he went. Yo, what's up, Nikki? Eero, what's up? What's up? Yeah, Obermiss Manor. That's it, yep. Imagine Hero becomes the villain. Ain't no way. All right, scrolling to try to catch up on chat. Do we think Primus will appear as a conqueror, or do we think he will show up appearing diminished from some of the setbacks they've suffered? Conqueror. Andrew, that's totally fair, yeah. Just have Wick say that Dakona's kidnapped me. Valid. Totally valid. I kind of don't want to spend half an episode going over stuff we as viewers already know. It's probably going to happen. I mean, that's what we did last week. Again, it was still fun, right? It was still a funny episode for like all the above table antics. But it did become basically Murray knowing everything and then everybody listening to Murray know everything. Soldiers is a weaker group in lore sense. To be fair, it's hard to judge any of the tables off of... I mean, we saw them for like 6.5, 7 episodes each. So, like, yes, the soldiers didn't have a super lore-heavy arc, but that's not what their arc was about. But maybe the next one, the soldiers tables, does something where they learn about stuff, right? It's just like somebody had to be the group that went after Casimir and Sid. And that's who they were when it comes to that. What is Julian's curse? Is it a shadow? It's the shadow thing on him, yeah. What does Draconite ancestry actually mean in this world? We have no idea. Wise Alex says, who do you think will go? Where do you think we will see the same tables where different people go to? I think we will see some changes, but they won't be that, like, I don't think we're going to see like massive swaps. I think like this person's going to go there, which means one person from there is going to go there. And then we're going to like that sort of thing. But I don't think it's going to be like 3 people leave this group. This whole group changes out. Like, I don't think we're going to get that. Question for Nerdcore in chat. It has been stated that Ingrid previously had a childhood crush on Octus. Who would you say is better for Ingrid, Julian, her current crush, or Octus? Did we know that she had a crush on Octus? I would say Octus. All right, scrolling. I think it's going to be a flashback. Yeah. Nikki says, what proof will Ozane bring tonight? Do you think, will he go alone or will he have some witnesses? I think it depends. Like, if he goes with everything the Seekers have, with like notes and like the letters written back and forth, everything they found, the reports, they can come back and say, yo, they killed those people. Also, we found out they attacked the Golden Orchard. Oh yeah, Julian also had saw his father's skull get ripped out. Oh, here's Octus, by the way. He's dead now. His his family, like, if they bring the Seekers, they got a lot, and then they go, oh yeah, and we found this candle and this kid heard something in the closet. But the Seekers alone have so much, like, evidence and proof. DJV, welcome in. Says, do you think Hollis Kenny Waters' mistress is a character we haven't introduced to or someone new? I have been very firm ever since we got introduced. I think every pre-show I've said, I think it's somebody we haven't met. I think the mistress is somebody we have not met. Do you think the Photarch could be the BBEG or someone we haven't met yet? Maybe like a god of the underworld or something. I think it's probably like of the entire campaign, I think somebody we haven't met yet. I think the Photarch is going to have a big role, no doubt, but I don't know about full on BBEG. Cold open, maybe Terror. Yeah, maybe a flashback to him and his brother. Piratey Steve, yeah. What if Grandpa Angel was free to release? He could be a good potential killing. Oh, he would be. They're feral, right? He would just be freaking blasting. So, yeah, I think so. 100%. Boyd says, do we think all the Shapers are actually dead, though? I think Rowan's alive. And I think that some of them had ways to come back. I'm believing that Tansel maybe had a plan to return from some of the stuff that he said about, like when we got the scene, the vision with, like, the priest and all that. So I think some of them might have plans or ways to return. And Rowan might actually be alive. Narvelin says, hot take. Hero becomes the hero. The confidence in herself that the schemers gave her will be the linchpin of the story at some point. Crazy. DD Nerd, that was a theory for quite some time that's still out there because it happened after he spit on the corpse of Thiazi. The soldiers group didn't want to get deep into lore. That's why there's a soldiers table. For some reason, the schemers haven't been combat heavy. I mean, they had some combats, to be fair. I don't think the Sundered Houses or the BBEG. I think BLM is using them as a catalyst for the true villain and problem. I agree with that, Cleric. Yeah, I think this is a build-up. It's so early. I think the soldiers missed out on lore by not going back to the hospital. Brennan commented on hoping they would explore there when they got... Yeah, I would have liked to learn more about... Well, to be fair, the hospital was more about, like, the Bellows fever and stuff. I'm unsure about what lore they would have gotten from there, but certainly possible. Elmer Duncan welcome and says, strange theory, but haven't seen it come up recently. Could someone or one of the god levels use something like control animal to affect someone while they're in their familiar? Like if somebody, like if Octus goes to look through Pen, could control animal affect that? I don't think so, because I don't think they're like, well, no, a familiar, I don't know. That's weird. That's like a D&D rules thing, I think. I'm not sure how that would work. Hubert says, love your channel. Your pre-shows are awesome. Happy to participate a little. Got to catch some sleep, though. Hey, peace out, Hubert. Enjoy the rest of your night, too. Thanks for popping in. Even the Tacona sisters' letters are enough evidence from the Seekers. Exactly. Like, there's so much. There's so much evidence from the Seekers. Polly welcome in says, do you think we have a secret enemy hiding among the group? I'm getting vibes from Tyranny, Azune, and Cadigan. I don't know. Like, Tyranny is a possibility, but I almost feel like she might be like an unwilling participant. And not unwilling, but unknowing, right? Like maybe he like can see her and knows what's happening and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know that she's like actively spying. I think the Azune thing is either all that remember stuff is that he's secretly a spy and even he might not know that. Like he's in so deep and he's kind of been tricked into being a spy with like mind control, or the remember thing is just about like his heritage and that he's like secretly related to one of the old Sundered houses or powerful houses. Cadigan, I don't think is a spy, but that'd be a crazy twist. Do you think the Mistress could be a cleric who learned to alter her casting? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Ace Dog, welcome in. I'm super excited for Taylor and Sid to reunite. Give Travis a chance to shine. I hope so. I really hope so. I want to see that. Yas, welcome in. Azune might be in trouble this episode if I'm Faustin is trying to destroy the evidence. I'm not sold they are, but other people are also convinced he's in danger. Yeah, better Sans. That's kind of where I was leaning. Jabriel, what's up? Welcome in. I hope I'm saying your name right, by the way. Jabriel. The chat is growing and growing. I have no theories this week because most will be wrong. I'm just ready for the show. Let's go. Yeah, there's a lot of people in here. Yo, what's up, Robin? Welcome in. Parody Steve says, if they freed the Celestial and the Angel didn't go on a rampage, that might signal the Human Shapers not quite dead. Exactly, because they went feral when the gods were killed. So. Jeff Hardy says, all of the masks are suspected as sleeper agents, including Taliesin. I agree. I think that, yeah, if they're like lose control, yeah, 100%. I think that's a solid theory. Nikki says, remember the prophecy where if one of these statues turns flesh, perhaps during a ritual, that part unclear, the Lord will die? Well, it's if they take a breath, which is why they return to stone, I think. Like, they can't take a breath while they're there, so. Danny, what's up? Did y'all see the battle map in the trailer? There was a character strapped to a table. What do you think about that? I don't normally watch the trailers ahead of the episode, so I have not seen it. Did they paint the theater with the blood of the Celestial? What did they paint? It feels like super rich was in the worst night. We don't really know, Alien. We know that some paint was used around to like draw stuff. I don't think it's like filament blood. I think it's the blood from the well of Asgore that was in Tanazar. I think all the evidence points to that being blood from the well, Asgore's well in Tanazar. What that means? No idea. Marissa asks, do you think the Seekers will be planned to arrive before Azune's meeting, or will Brennan let it be up to a dice roll? I think it's going to all depend on timing. I'm unsure because Ozune is supposed to do that tonight. The Seekers are currently waiting at Hal's house for his meeting to end, right? With the Photarch, and then he's going to take them to, you know, Ozune, Belair, and all of them. So I'm not sure. Judging from how badly Cadigan did in talking to that city guard, I don't think he's a spy. Maybe he's just such a good spy, right? He's such a good spy. Scott says, I think somebody tied to the demons is the BBEG. The priests all signing evil contracts is a big plot point that is not getting the attention it deserves. I agree that it's not getting as much attention. Like the idea that every person who's joining the Condescent Creed is literally signing their soul to a demon is kind of crazy. But at the same time, that we already knew that was their arrangement. We just didn't know how it was being done, right? We all assumed that it was like the snipping of shadows that was doing it. But maybe we were just wrong about that. It's actually that, yeah, no, they're signing contracts and that's how they're getting the souls to have this arrangement with the demons. So, yeah. Okay, Cameron. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. That would be crazy, though. So it's a ride to get to the grocery store in like 10-ish minutes. Dang, Dispel, you're having a rough 24 hours, dude. Robbie demanding Brennan make an NPC name on the spot made me cackle. Yeah, and he immediately had one. And then it turned into the whole, like, this is supposed to be a roll, like a single roll. Look where we're at. You know, it was fun. Dr. Calvin, welcome in, says, I do think that tyranny not letting them know the holy orders or warlock contracts is part of the same urge for suffering that made her steal the knife from the gnome. Completely possible. Yo, what's up, Bakmo? All right, I'm nearly caught up on chat, I think, so I'm going to take this opportunity. Shelby says, new to the channel, what does BBEG stand for? Big Bad Evil Guy. So normally it's the main villain of the campaign, or like, you know, right? When you refer to the big bad evil guy, it's either of like the arc you're on, like, oh, I'm going to fight the vampire in the castle. He's the big bad evil guy, right? It's another way to kind of say villain, but most of it's like the big one, right? Because you're going to fight villains along the way. The BBEG is supposed to be like the big villain, like the end of the story villain. You just call me Jay. My parents wanted to be difficult. Fair enough. I really want Sid free tonight. We should, or they're just delaying it. You know who else can't breathe? Octus. Facts. Tyranny is low-key fourth wall, wink energy. Sometimes it means she comes across a little meta. That interaction with Belair was a bit iffy, but she has spirit. Yeah, that interaction was rough because it seemed, I talked about this before as well. It seemed like Talisman was really trying to have this moment, and Tyranny was just not playing with it. And Robbie was just sitting between them, like, as Belair, I mean, Talisman's like, hey, like being super serious, and it did not play out at all. And then they just like moved on. I was like, dang, like Talisman wanted that moment. Why would anyone allow Hal to meet the Photarch alone? He needs that backup. I don't know that that's really his choice, right? Like, I don't know that that's an option. Yeah, there's a lot of meetings coming up, Eugenie, with like different stuff going on, and at some point they need to meet with the Seekers to get that information. So I think the Halavars work for the demons, not the other way around. You think so, Mordos? I think they have like a mutual relationship, but maybe one has the upper hand for sure. Very few things are legitimately mutual. We know a lot about the gods and or shapers, but we know we don't know a lot about demons outside of Tyranny, her sisters, and their dad. That's it. Time to take you guys outside. Didn't have AC on while gone, so apparently 83 degrees. Sheesh. Yeah, I need to kind of, mine's at 74. My HVAC went out. My HVAC's broken, so I'm using a window unit until it gets repaired, which is going to cost me several $1,000s. So if you guys want to support the content in the stream, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. All right, leave a comment or a message in the chat. Consider becoming a member here on YouTube. It gets you ad-free experience and support me directly continuing to do this full time. Yeah, Tahoe, same. I give a bit of leeway with it as well. Yeah, Polly, that came up a lot. I never bought into it, and then it was basically stated that like Tyranny and her were in the same place at the same time. So I don't think that that could be a thing. Skinner is the BBEG. How crazy would that be? He shows up at the end, and it's like boom. I think the battle map for the trailer may be from inside Obermus Manor. There are 2 Beastfolk guards there. There is hooded figure with a staff. Thimble is there too. Ooh, okay. Okay. What if they delayed Sid because he's played by a guest? Don't delay Sid. Lucid Skulls, hello. I think Tyranny being an unwilling or unknowing trader makes sense now that you mention it. Yeah, if she is one, I think she's unknowing. Yeah. When he's still green when it comes to D&D, 100%. Yeah, the vibes of the tables are pretty different and clashing a bit. Soldiers are playing with fairies and dogs, and the schemers have been fighting for their lives. But to be fair, like, the soldiers, yes, they got breaks to play with dogs and stuff, but there was more than that. You know, they fought people and went through hard times. Chicken Wizard, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Another thing, if you guys have Amazon Prime, that means you have Twitch Prime, which means you can subscribe to me for free as a way to support on Twitch. Twitch.tv/NerdCoreGG if you guys want to throw a Prime sub that way. The Guxar, thank you for the 72 cents. How do you think the spell Banishment behaves in Aramon? Is there an Astral Sea? If Thimble gets banished, she would return to Fairy and could not come back. If the Underworld is a dimension, can you banish someone from there? Would they go back to Aramon? That's a great question. If you banished Thimble and she went, could she come back if the doors are closed? Or maybe the banishment doesn't work because the doors are closed. Right? Huh. That's a great question, Guxar. I don't know. I would imagine if Brennan didn't want her to be able to go to Fairy, he would just say, like, banish because the doors are closed. It's kind of like they try to banish you there, and you just, like, headbutt the door, and it's like, you can't come in, and then you just kind of, like, sit out there in nothingness and then come back. That's my best guess. Hey, me too. HVAC units falling like flies. Yeah, I mean, it's that time of year, but he's cutting them on. Last summer, I had to replace my entire system, switch to Windows units. If you get good ones, they're fine and cheaper. Yeah, I mean, got one here, got one out there. But yeah, it's under warranty. It's a 2018 unit, and they said it's supposed to be under warranty, and they said if it actually is, because like somebody should have registered it, it's $2,000 to fix, because the condenser or something is broken. If not, it's $4,000 to fix. So, or it was too much for you. Oh, I agree, Ace Dog. It is tough to get people in. 100%. It can be tough. It's a big commitment. It's a big commitment to get people to watch 3 to 5 hour episodes every week. So many possible angles to the story. A ton, Piety Steve, a ton. Bersinger, I know, that was rough. That was super rough. But it also made for really, really, really funny moments. Skinner shows up at the end. I told you I killed people every day. I hope he comes back. I want more of him. 100 Spooky Skelly says, one thing I think would be interesting is the Panto that Belair is a part of were made by the Halflings. I don't think they have a sundered house unless they are in with Royce. Where are they in this? Well, the orcs don't have a sundered house. Well, yeah, they don't have a sundered house either. So, right? Like, I don't think every species necessarily has a sundered house. Some may fall under others as, like, vassal houses. Demon Daddy's name, I have it in my notes. Kashar Ravi or something like that. Kashar. Yeah, Kashar. Wow, I kind of nailed that. Kashar Ravi. I'm a gangster. That was 100% it. Kashar Ravi. I'll put it how I have it in my notes in the chat for you. Kashar Ravi. Yes, but scheduled timing of the meetings means the only one that occurs before Seekers reunite is the Hal Photark one. Wick reappearing is the only ally that would help him. Is it confirmed we have a romance triangle on the table? I don't know that Azune is going for Murray, but the Murray-Cadigan one is interesting. Not the idea of Skinner showing up. I want more Skinner. Cadigan isn't a traitor. He's just weird. Fair enough, Eagle Vision. Menide says, I gotta throw my hat on this one. The soldiers didn't fight. Thimble whooped. I mean, yeah, it was a big Thimble show. There's no doubt about that. I'm guessing it's Menides, not Menides, over on Twitch. Menides. I think the demons made a deal with the Photar to capture the angel and empower her, coupling to produce Wick's father. Okay. Okay. Same with Dead and Celestial, right? Yeah, probably. Mitchell says, who was your favorite NPC that was introduced in the Convergence? I mean, we didn't really have major introductions into Convergence, right? Like, who have we met new other than the people you said? Julian's mom and Cadigan? I mean, the guard with Cadigan? That was such a brief interaction. Like, I don't think I can give that guard, like, I mean, out of those, I'd say Julian's mom. But, yeah. Yeah, we don't know Muffin. Paul says, can't wait for an Oxys confrontation with Primus as much as Wick with the Photark. Both are going to be solid, I hope. Just need to go Galaxy Brain mode to figure it all out. Exactly. How much? Yeah, like 2 to 4,000 depending. Yeah. We haven't seen any halflings in play, have we? Wasn't the Hollis? Wasn't Hollis a halfling? I mean, he's not really, but like, wasn't he presenting as a halfling? After a summer break and episodes, I will probably switch to watch on Mondays. Oh, really? Why is that? Halflings are off in their own country. The totality is based there. The totality. Bone Dragon says, all the Sundered houses are humans, mostly with sorcerers, correct? Yeah. Sorcery is a big part of the Sundered houses, or at least 3 of them, right? The Cormorants, the Royces, and Taconis, Halavars. It's 4. Yeah. Wick was close to dying almost every fight, but it was because he just kind of was like, I'm going to take this gamble. I think that Winclair, to answer your question, I just think they have a strong relationship. They've been running. It sounds good, Dispel. Mitchell says, do we think that the Convergence will be only 4 episodes like the Overture? It's just, the problem is that they start Age of Umbra on July 9th. So they only have like 5 or 6 episodes left. So if they do like only 2 more episodes of the Convergence, then that leaves them with 4 episodes of doing what? And then a big break, right? There's not like a firm stopping point. So I'm kind of confused how this schedule will work, but yeah, it's possible. Dr. Saucer's a halfling. Yeah. Do we think Hal can hold his own against the Photark and still put on his play after comments about the masks? I know he's suave, but I fear his words would mean nothing. Hold his own as in like just be able to talk to her and whatever? Sure. Like in a combat? Absolutely not. and like a toe for toe, I'm trying to do stuff to you, you're trying to do stuff to me. No. No, the Photar could walk all over him every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Sorry, I'm skimming through chat to see this. I think all the different centered houses are of a different source or ancestry, right? Yeah, that's kind of what we were just touching on. I think he was a gnome. The guy in the bathroom, I think, was a gnome. I think because Albert Morn was a gnome, right? And that guy had the last name Morn as well, so I think that's a common name. Yo, what's up? I'm Vibe. Yo, what's up, Nom Nom? Arctic says, 2-player characters are far more quiet than the rest. In your opinion, do you like it? Are you talking about in this last episode or in general? I mean, in this last episode, yeah. I mean, Tayor and Cadigan didn't really talk. But do I like that? No, but there's, you know, a bajillion people at the table, and that's just kind of who they are, so. 6 weeks for the Age of Umbra. Yeah, 6 weeks of a break with Campaign 4 coming on July 9th. Yep. Sean West, yep. Nikki, I don't think so. I don't think Hero is like a bad guy or anything, but maybe, again, maybe I'm naive. Sleepstarved Nerd on TikTok says, feel like Ingrid is going to end up being like Princess Eska from Legend of Korra. And that Ingrid won't let Julian reject her, okay? You cannot turn me down. After the Convergence, they probably stream the recent live show, then break for Umbra. If they replace one of our Thursdays with a freaking live show, no, the live show comes out on Friday for... Well, then, yeah, I guess if they wanted to stream it. That'd be heartbreaking. Why do you think there was no barbarian or clerics in the player group to start off with? That's a great question. I have no idea. I think the clerics maybe have something to do with the world setting. I can't imagine barbarians are anything to do with that, though. Is Alex Ward in the Age of Umbra roster? No, it's all people that haven't been on Critical Role. Like, no, it's Laura and Matt, I think. Is it Ashley or is it Laura? I think it's Laura and Matt are the only two that are from the CR cast. Gene, yeah, 6 weeks from July 9th. So I don't know the exact end date, but just count out 6 Thursdays from that point. Cormers are related to Jinns. They are connected to elementals. Yeah. Soldiers will rescue Mara in the city. I could see that, Nikki, but I just don't know if it's like the current soldiers group or an adjusted soldiers group. Like, that's really what we're trying to figure out. Yo, what's up, Mr. Malicious? To these oh, that's heartbreaking, dude. But I'm glad you managed to make it to this one. What if the Photart places blame on Hal for the attack on her? That would be crazy, and I don't see that, but that would be crazy. Who do I think is going to die first in this campaign? Ryan Everhart says. I don't know. I'm going to say Wick because Wick is constantly putting himself in situations to die. So I'm going to do it just based on that. Just based on that. Tornado warnings here, like super rare. Keep fingers crossed for power. Fingers crossed for power, and that no tornado gets close to you. What? Jalali, thank you for subscribing to the channel. You've been in here how many times and you ain't subscribed? What the heck? I'll take that opportunity to say, hey guys, if you are new here, if this is your first time tuning in, or you've been here before and you just haven't subscribed like some people, go ahead and click that sub button. It's free. You can do it for free. You'll get more of me in your feeds, including my recaps, my reviews, my just general coverage of nerd culture like Dungeons and Dragons, Critical Role, yada, yada, yada. So please subscribe. Now, also, right below the video, you're going to see a thumbs up and a thumbs down. Click the thumbs up for me, okay? Click the thumbs up for me. And if you want to say something super cool in the chat, feel free to do that. I don't really care what you say. You can compliment me. You can insult me. Just something in the chat to help get the algorithm going. And the last thing, if you want to support this content and me staying full-time, consider becoming a member on YouTube, which gets you an ad-free experience, and support me making this content, or subscribe to my Patreon, which is linked in the description below. Oh yeah, and join the Discord. We have a whole channel for Critical Role live chat, so during the episode, you can talk with people about what's happening. It's active in there every single time. So if you want people to talk about Critical Role with, also get told when I'm doing my pre-shows and all that, that's going to be in there. So join the Discord. It's linked in the description of the YouTube video. All right, back to the chat. What character most surprised you? Oh, Vela surprised me by getting soft as fast as she did. Bolaire's whole gimmick, like being a mask, was really surprising. I'm sure I can think of some other things from like different individuals that was surprising. Find it funny that there are 3 paladins in the initial 13, given the paladins are usually connected to divinity. All the gods are dead. Totally valid. Yo, what's up, Quirky Geek Girl? A lot of stressful things are going to happen this episode, I bet. Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Oh, what's up, Sam Royden? The Photarch pinning the attack on Hal would be like the Pope pinning an assassination on Tom Cruise. Interesting. What's up, Golem? Oh, could Louise flavor his Draconic bloodline sword to be from the Jinn? I think it's going to be like a different family. I think he's going to have some lineage or something related to one of the fallen houses. That's my guess, is he's going to be related to one of the other houses that they're not sure if they like exist or if they're gone or whatever. Hey, nice, Danny. At first I was Octus. I don't count that. Doesn't count, Mr. Flo. Octus did not really die. I do not count that. I do not. Hey, peace out, Rick. I think Taylor will die first. Totally valid. Totally valid. I want nobody to die. Yeah, I'm not like a death seeker either, but I mean, when people ask me, I kind of have to be like, eh. Meme Club, welcome in. Says popping in to listen to y'all's theories while I wait for pizza. What'd you get? What pizza did you get? You convinced me to subscribe. Perfect, William. Perfect. First player to get themselves killed is what we should ask, and I think Sam is the only one trying. I don't think he's trying. I just think he's not playing it like he's trying to survive. Do you think Azune is in over his head and will present lies that the Einfassen could detect? I don't know how good they are at detecting lies. But I will say, Sky Pepper, thanks for the follow on Twitch. Appreciate that. I will say, though, he has been deceiving thus far. And in some of the stuff he's planted, some of that has been his deception. So I'm curious if he's going to try to do some of that or not. PC death and what happens to that PC soul when it passes into never reaches, aka Taconis World. Yeah, Kevo, they may not go, but they might be willing to just be a part of the group. I think, Scott, I think it's just a power vacuum and a build-up, to be honest, about why the Sundered Houses are all making moves now. Arctic says, I think Azune is sting schemers based off his answers from your interview. Totally valid theory. Party Steve says, PC death. The rebellion's identities and plans could go to heck if its Taconis uses Speak with Dead on a spell on PC. Oh, yeah. Well, they don't have to. Speak with Dead doesn't force people to answer or give truth. So, not necessarily. Dark Designs welcome in, says, I really don't want this, but I'm worried Tyranny will be the first to die. I think she also is likely to probably make some wrong decisions that could lead to her death. But Sam, like, actively doesn't really think about surviving with Wick, so that's why I lean there. Is anyone doing a kill count for each character? Do we know who has the most so far? I mean, probably Thimble, right? Favorite flavor, Hawaiian. Interesting. Cupcake says, well, let's party. Let's go, Danny. Our ship, welcome in. Could Einflossen want the evidence so they can destroy it because they're in cahoots with Ticonis? A lot of people have had that theory. I don't buy that theory, but other people have. So, I mean, it's certainly possible. Based on what we've seen and learned about each character, who do you think would win in a fight of all the campaign for player characters? It's too hard to predict because they're low enough level that like one thing could kind of just like not like, so if Murray lands a hold person, that drastically changes the situation. But if it's not against a caster, right, then you got to think maybe Cadigan's not the strongest alone, but he comes with an animal companion, and at low levels and the fact that they're using flanking rules, all of a sudden Cadigan is very good. But Thimble is also broken, so Thimble probably has the best chance because she has flight. So, like, these other, like, melee people have to hold action for an attack, and she's going to just, like, fly down, take an attack, fly back up because she's a swashbuckler. She can do it without provoking. So, yeah, I don't know. Canada, thank you for that follow over on Twitch. If they could get their own hound, that would be awesome. Those who died in Enemy of the Kingdom, do you think anyone else will follow those footsteps becoming wanted? I mean, several of them are already kind of wanted, to be fair. David Vargas says, the real question we should be asking is, why is the show so late for East Coast people? Because it's based with people on the West Coast. And it just started that way, and they've built up years and years and years of it being that time. So that's, yeah. And I see the comments, yeah, but Thimble was also breaking the rules. Thimble has low-key been cheating this whole campaign. I know. I've brought it up a bajillion times. Again, I don't think she's cheating. I think that she's just doing some things and she doesn't know that it's not the way that it was designed. But again, even at lower levels, sneak attack at low levels when you have 3d6 or 2d6 and you are a swashbuckler that can engage and go away, dash as a bonus action, like that in general is just very, very good. So she still has a really solid chance of beating anybody as long as she doesn't fail, like, again, a hold person or something. Because she has flight. So they can't get to her without shooting like bows or shooting a spell, right? So, yeah. Wouldn't Tyranny just go back to her dad if she died? I think, yeah, she probably goes through the pit. Mordos, yeah. Yeah. Oh, imagine, though, if one of the tables TPK, they could join the Aussie and fight in the Ticonis on the other side. What a plot twist. I think before the players split again, everyone needs to get an acting lesson from Hal. I mean, the list of characters who need improv lessons is getting long. Cadigan, Wick, Julian, Octus, Tyranny. Matt is first, Laura is second on the kill count. That checks out. Benny Keys. That checks out. Daniel says Thimble and Ozzy are contenders for most kills. I don't know. You know, it's been a while, but Julian, especially in like the bridge scene, I feel like he got like the final blow on like everybody. Because again, he's another character that was taking 2 attacks and at low levels, like even if they aren't like super scaling, like they're good. Remember, as a divination wizard, Murray can choose to make a whole, exactly. With a low roll portent, Murray, like, that changes it, which is why I say, like, some of these things is hard to predict because you just don't know. I think Convergence doesn't end tonight. I think it may last until Age of Umbra. I don't know. That would mean that they had been recording, because again, Sam said like 2 months ago now, two and a half months ago, that they just finished recording them all being together. And I mean, do we really think that they did like 6 or 7 weeks of that? I don't know. How is Thimble cheating? Again, cheating is a strong word. I don't think it's like cheating, outright cheating or anything. She is adding her damage with her extra attack that she's not supposed to our knowledge. She has no way of having the ability to add her dex, which is a +5. So every time she hits with her offhand, she's dealing 5 extra damage that she's not supposed to. So in a combat, they last 5 rounds, she hits it with every time, she's getting that. That's 20 extra points of damage. At level 3, that's enough to kill people. Like, you know, get an extra kill or 2 or whatever. Not only that, there was at least once, if not more times, she gave herself advantage from her audacity, which isn't what it does. It allows you to sneak attack without needing advantage or an ally within 5 feet. And she was giving herself advantage from it, which it doesn't do. It allows you to sneak attack without needing advantage or an ally. It doesn't give you advantage. So, but it is what it is. Taylor will be the first to die because Travis rolls like crap historically since Grog. He has been a real Will Wheaton. Yeah, I mean, even with Taylor in this one, he's been rolling really, really bad. He's been rolling really, really bad. Chilali, in terms of the desperate measures, I believe they reset. They reset after a long rest, if I understand them correctly. Boy, do I wish they moved the airtime up by at least an hour. I mean, that would be cool. I'm not against it. Then there was the infamous self-help moment. Don't even get me started on them all being able to give themselves the help action. Don't even get me started. The stuff like Thimble making that mistake, those mistakes, like our Laura making those mistakes, it's like, you know, eventually, hopefully somebody catches it or tells her, or she hears me talking about it. And she's like, oh, okay, like this isn't how this is supposed to work. That's why I'm so much better than every person in my party. However, I am less bothered by her making a mistake than the self-help actions. That was nonsense. Absolute nonsense. There's no Thimble hate. There's no real, I'm just pointing out that it was, it's just not being done as designed. That's all. Things for these good. Oh wait, I already read those. Did I accidentally scroll up? Thimble isn't broken, it's optimized. No, what I'm talking about is broken. I mean, other than that, she's fine. Like the other stuff, yeah, at low levels as a swashbuckler rogue, I am playing one currently. I love swashbuckler rogues. They are awesome. So without those things, cool. But yeah. It's so late on the East Coast because California knows how to party. Oh, is that right, Ryan of Marshall? Fills me with dread. Zaya, no. So in my interview with him, if you haven't seen it, he also talks about like there is like, at least I think it was in my interview. He talked about it, whether it was in my interview or somebody else. There was an emotional moment coming up, like a heated moment, kind of from him coming up, and with that in the thumbnail, I think that's gonna happen. So. Yeah. Brennan is allowing it. Thimble's not doing anything wrong. I think he's going with it because he doesn't know either. I understand the idea that like, oh, because Brennan is worrying about 1,000 things and not questioning whether or not Laura is playing correctly, that is not Thimble doing anything wrong. Again, wrong isn't the right word, but it's also like, it is, right? Like nobody should be getting like blame placed necessarily, but it should probably be fixed because that's why these, like, she's so much better than everybody else in that party. That's why everybody's like, she's so amazing, she's insane. It's like, well, because she's getting advantage when she doesn't have it, she's dealing extra damage. Yeah, of course she's better. Like, and she's a low level rogue. When you combine all of those things together, yes, she is blowing everybody else out of the water. Does it have advantage to weapon mastery? Yeah, if she has that, she could get Vex. Yeah. Which is what could give her advantage with the offhand. But again, in my specific thing, which again, maybe she said it incorrectly, I distinctly remember a time where she goes, oh, I get advantage because of my rogue thing or something. And I was like, no! But she might have said the wrong thing. She might have meant Vex. Don't know. So the other reason that not every time she has advantage is wrong. They're playing flanking rules. if you have an ally within 5 feet of the same monster, you get advantage. So if there's an ally next to it, she's gonna have advantage. If she hit her first attack, she has advantage on the second one. She has a lot of ways to get advantage. So they're not, like, I'm not saying all these times are wrong. Like, again, I could only name one where she said something out loud that I was like, wait, no, that's not right. I'm more focused on the offhand damage than the rest of it. Like, I don't know how often she's making that mistake. How are you liking Brennan's DM choices to include high-level NPCs? I think it's fine. They exist. Yeet, thank you for the 101-month subscription on Twitch. Swashbucklers get advantage? No, they can just attack, or they can get sneak attack without needing advantage, or an ally within 5 feet. They can 1v1 sneak attack, which is, they're the only one who can really do that without giving themselves advantage. Yo, what's up, Purple Tiger? Welcome in, welcome in. Terminator would win. She disappeared before everyone knew what was happening. Self-help was wild. Agreed. At least 40 more damage than she should have. Oh yeah, I guess Jay, if you added up the stuff, yeah. Low level flight is also always kind of broken. Agreed. It is partial homebrew because she's a fairy, so it's possible Laura's not understanding when and where to apply her dex or advantage on rolls. It's possible. Again, there's not me blaming. There's not me being like, she's messing this up. Like, I'm not like raving in the comments being like, she's cheating. I'm just pointing out, because people always talk about how deadly she is. And so I just go, well, to be fair, yeah, she is deadly, but she's being more deadly than she's supposed to, which is making the rest of them look worse than they are, sort of thing. You can give yourself advantage as part of cunning action if you choose to forgo movement. That's not for all of them. You have to take, are you talking about steady aim, WB? Steady aim lets you do that. Yeah. Yeah, third level rogue feature allows you to get that. I don't know if I'm looking at, that's a 2014 version. I don't know if they've changed it. Daniel with a $5 super chat. Collapse of the Golden Orchard seems to have been baked in once Aranessa left. I guess it can't survive without a member of the House of Royce. Yeah, that was interesting when they described it falling, right? They basically said that the orchard became unstable because the Royce wasn't there, right? Like, because a Royce wasn't there, it became unstable. Yeah, level 3 they get steady aim. So if they don't move, so steady aim means you can't move, and then you your movement becomes 0. With that, yeah. So steady aim is a thing. No, I know, WB. I'm just saying I didn't know if they had put it in here. But like when I just looked it up, it seems like it's in here. In 2024, they might have baked it in. I mean, I guess I could pull out the book and actually look, but I'm pretty sure it's now showing as just like you get it at level 3, so it might be just a default thing now for rogues. Yeah, you can't move with steady aim. The whole idea is you give up your movement. All right, I think sacrifice an action to give yourself advantage on saving through is fair trade. It's kind of like the off. I don't think so. Dodge I think is totally fair. You're spinning your turn being like, all right, I'm gonna avoid this attack. My whole focus is on dodging. I'm not thinking about attacking. My whole thing is positioning myself to avoid an attack. Cool. You can't help. You're like, I'm gonna be healthier and my constitution. Constitution saved me stronger. No. Like, no, I refuse to accept that nonsense. I'm helping myself on a charisma save. What? Like, yeah, you are. Naturally, your body is trying to fight off poison. You don't have to give a help action to improve your chance to resist poison. Like, the help action on the things no, absolutely not. It's silly. No, I don't mind the help action. Like a companion giving you a help action is fine. Giving yourself help actions, I don't agree with. Nerdcore, with all that thimble slander you were saying, people would say you're a member of the Condescent Creed. I got no slander for Thimble. I'm just pointing it out. I like Thimble. I think Thimble is fine. Yeah, and credits. Yeah, that's it. Vex and Nick, yeah, probably. All right, I'm trying to catch up on chat. As you doing all this damage, I know this is D&D, but logically it makes no sense for her to hit more. Yeah, I mean, that's just D&D where you let the mechanics rock, right? Because yeah, you could of course break down like, oh, she's stabbing with a needle and that's more dangerous than the guy who's hitting them with an axe, right? Yeah. I'm quite a ways behind, so I'm skipping through a little bit. Might have seen more OP because everyone is rolling bad. Also true. Thing can make it so. Yep. I think it only became unstable because of the attack. If a member of the family wasn't there, it could probably remain stable for a while on its own. Yeah, that seems fair, Schematic, yeah. During the attack, it became unstable. It became unstable when they attacked because she wasn't there to fix it. Yep, that same thing the Chocolatist of Thunder said over on TikTok. How would you feel about 2 tables instead of 3? Arctic on TikTok asks. I would love that. I would love that. I think the self-help business was an escape hatch Brendan created for them so they didn't get annihilated in that dungeon fight. I agree. Yo, what's up, Boneyard? I'm pumped for tonight's episode, but hoping they break up the groups a bit this session. The 8-person table last time was a bit too chaotic for my taste. Totally fair. Totally fair. Will yourself to resist manifesting. Exactly. To fear they all got caught in like with the basilisk stairs, so they all got petrified to be a TPK. Yeah, exactly. Not sure if you touched on how awkward the Belair Tyranny interaction was. Tao gave so much energy and it was reserved. I did. Very icky. I 100% brought that up tonight and in another discussion I had. I was playing Baldur's Gate 3. By the way, if you guys ever see me live, I'm playing BG3. I am currently running a group of Campaign 4 characters. I have Murray, Azune, Valus, and Hal as my 4 characters in BG3. But I was talking about it then. Yeah, I have described many times now that Tao was in it. Belair was like, tell me what, blah, blah, blah. What is, I'm trying to get a read. And Whitney and Tyranny were just not having any of it. And it was like, and Robbie was just like sitting between them. And I was like, yeah, this is not playing out the way that Tal is trying to get it to go. She's just not biting really at all. But I think part of it is also maybe she doesn't know if she, whatever, because Brennan and yeah, I don't know. Oh yeah, as for somebody who is going to stand there, WB, steady aim is great. Steady aim is not as good for a swashbuckler who typically goes in, attacks, and can leave without provoking. Do we think that's similar to Exandria getting 3 campaigns? We will get 3 campaigns set in Aramon. I have no idea. I have no idea. It's a good question though. I'm giving myself advantage? No. That one says, from seeing the rankings of how you placed Valus, I see her switch up more as something that plays into her elf heritage and how she struggles with social interaction, the difference in beliefs. I still feel like she came in a certain way and she just dropped to, I'm fine with her if she ends up this way eventually. The fact that she just like on a dime was like, I'm over that. I was just like, whoa, you were like this mysterious, super cool, like cold, and then you're just like, I don't want to be that anymore. And that really threw me off. Instinctual resisting it, but Alfie, like, how do you put your focus or energy into some of these saving throws? That's the thing, is like, you take the time and predetermine your resistance to charisma checks. How? Constitution checks. How do you will your blood cells to better fight the thing in a 6-second window, right? Like, some of them just don't make sense. Like, I just don't know how you do them. So I don't the help action thing I just don't like. So you guys, I mean, you guys are being, because where all you say the same thing. Well, they gave up their action, right? Yes, but it also negates some other abilities or spells that allow you to get advantage on your saving throws if you can always just give up your action to get it. And again, it doesn't make any sense within the bounds of the game to be able to do it, because there are multiple things that allow you to do that. There are spells that take an action to cast that allow you to get advantage on your saving throw. Why do I need any of those if I can just go, no, I'm not going to get diseased. I warded it away with my mind. It's silly. I just think it's silly. Have you wished Laura and Liam a happy birthday yet? I have not, but they're having their stuff. Their twin birthday. 2 tables would have accomplished the goal. I also think a simpler adventure that didn't need all the lore would have been just as effective in regard to viewer enthusiasm. Yeah, I think 2 tables would have been fine. I think 2 tables would have been fine personally, but you know, we'll see how the 3 play out. Yeah, exactly, David. There are mechanics and feats that self-help negates that the problems. Well, some of them, so for instance, there was one that I was using in general when I first had that idea. It was, yeah, it negates this, but in 2024, that's not what that does anymore. It gives you like a D4 instead of advantage or something. I don't remember what it was. So that one, I was like, oh, maybe I'm wrong about that, but there's probably more. Maybe the Tyranny Belair thing shows they don't prep properly for the show. The soldiers hadn't been at the table for so long and were scatterbrained. Maybe an actual theater warm-up to help focus. Yeah, I mean, I just, maybe they just had an idea of what could happen and what couldn't. So yeah, they just didn't connect on that. No worries, Debs. I like the chaos and mayhem of 8 characters, multiple groups at the table. See, this is something that, like, you either really are into that or you're just not really. I enjoyed the humor of it. I didn't enjoy the flow of it, if that makes sense. Lady Restraints, Fern was a perfect fit. And she was actually made as Fern, could be explained as fake chaos. Fair. Yet it says, I've been wondering whether they'll continue in Armand 2. Brennan is one of my favorite people ever, but I'd also be super mad if Matt never DM'd a campaign again. I'm like, Matt's got to come back, right? Like, my original idea with campaign 4 was that they were taking such massive swings so that when they made the return, they could like have this massive thing of like, Matt's back, and then it would get like the highest viewership ever, sort of thing. That's my guess. Your character's rolling is already helping them, helping themselves in this logic. It's redundant. That's my take, yeah. Where do you think the soldiers will go now that the gates to Ferry have already been defended? Yeah, I don't know, because that's kind of where I was eyeing that. It's kind of where I was eyeing that, is that they would, like, that a group would go. Again, I don't know who's going to go where, because I think some tables might change. So saying, like, the soldiers are going to go, but, like, the name the soldiers might go, but, like, Wiccan Tyranny might not, right? Like, so, like, the groups may change. So that'll answer Wise's question of where do you, or do you think the tables will stay the same after this? No, I think there'll be slight changes. There'll be slight changes. MC over on TikTok says, are you also streaming on Twitch or just here? I'm on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Most people are on YouTube. 274 people are on YouTube right now. Twitch has 19 people, and then I don't know how many are on TikTok right now. So yes, I am live on other places. All the chats are on screen on the side for the other ones. If you're on TikTok, it's up here for all the other chats. Okay, Mitchell, I've kind of already touched on the Golden Orchard and not needing to send somebody there. Muffin says, personally, 3 tables plus very complicated lore is what made me start watching. I love the mix and it drew me in. I'd never watched Critical Role before. Well, do you know that you wouldn't enjoy Critical Role without that? It really does deserve a break. Yeah, I don't have a problem with Matt taking a break, but I do hope he comes back. Yo, what's up, Rextrout? See, our live show was so much fun. Hey, I'm glad you enjoyed it, Batson. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. Oh, yeah, Stephanie, did you say how much you enjoyed it? Or if you did? Dragon Drake says, on Tyranny, I think she just wasn't really afraid of people knowing about her father. He was looking for fear and she didn't have any. Well, he was like, I'm looking to see what I'm getting from you. And she was like, I don't know. nothing. Like, you know, he was trying to make a scene. It just wasn't working. I think she was kind of looking at Brennan like, is there something he would? And he was just like, I don't know. It was just, it was a bit discombobulated for what Talisman was very clearly trying to have a scene, and it just didn't happen. Daniel, thank you for another $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Houndsport seems like a good destination for the soldiers once they wrap things up in the city. Do we think they head back to Timony? Yeah, Houndsport is a good goal. Again, I don't know that the same soldiers go, but I think that makes sense. Because people kept saying they go to Timony with King Gus, and I'm like, they don't really need to do that. Now, with him leaving and then splitting off to go to Houndsport, that I could see. I could see that. Also got to play Daggerhead at the game store. What'd you think, Batson? I also wonder how much info Whitney has about her father. If she doesn't have an intense background with him, she's probably just as oblivious to his wrongdoings as Wick was to his grandmother. Totally possible. Yeah. Jay says, them forgetting stuff is an issue with this being so produced over being more friends around the table, so things get lost in between the weeks and months they're not playing. I mentioned that in my Should You Watch video, which, again, ultimately I said, yes, I think you should. I think it's still enjoyable and fun and interesting. But, yeah, they've brought it up multiple times. They're like, hey, yeah, it's been 4 months since we played, so I don't know. And yeah, I don't know. As like a D&D player, that sucks. You imagine that you just have to like take these 6 months breaks or 3 month or two, you know, whatever breaks between like your games all the time, and then like come back and yeah, I don't know. But it works for them for their schedules and stuff, I guess. So that's where they went with it. But I feel what you're saying, Jay. I like it. Yeah, no, that's literally how I felt with that. Is they moved away. So we saw that there was a dip for campaign 3, right? Campaign 3 wasn't as well received. So what did they do? They said, hey, let's take a big swing. Let's do something crazy. We bring Brennan as a dungeon master. We do these crazy tables, yada, yada, yada. And then what we do is we have like I don't want to call it like a retirement campaign after that, but like we're running the main core one last time. And then maybe Travis steps away and we pick up Robbie full time or Whitney or whatever, right? Like, this is where mine's at. My mind is that I think they're going to like have this big thing of like, we're back, Matt's back, the main cast is back, make it this huge thing, and then be like, all right, now this is the new era of Critical Role. We're going to change things up. Yeah. I've got to go 2:30 a.m. here. I have work in my AA. Peace out, Taryn. PJF Dawn with a 676 super chat. Thank you. Views on YouTube are dropping every week, struggling to hit 350k the first week. I love CR, but this experiment hasn't worked. At this rate, there's no C5. So I don't know if views are dropping every week. I also think, like, you know, it's something that continues to grow over time, right? We can be like, oh, right after this episode, 5 days later, it has a little bit lower views, but like, it's going to have 1 million in 6 months. Right, so I think it's a little bit harder to judge there. I also think the Convergence is allowing for a bit of a bounce back potentially, which I think is showing through. Even my numbers have gone up by like 100 since the Convergence started. So I think some people are bouncing back. I would also say that even if these were the normal numbers they had, Campaign 5 would still happen, right? Like, when you're as big as they are and you take a drop, if they have, right? Not saying they have, but if you have, and you're still way above everybody else, you're still going to do a Campaign 5, right? And especially if you're going to go, boom, I'm also bringing back the main cast and Matt as like the single. Yeah, it's gonna. I would argue that if they came back to that, they would probably hit some of the highest viewership numbers they've ever had. If they said Campaign 5 is back, Matt is at the helm, it's the original cast members, we're in for another campaign, I think it would be the biggest one. And yes, there's also Beacon. I've said this before, though. I do think some people overestimate the number of people on Beacon, and none of us know. So even what I say is speculation. But if I like try to extrapolate based on like, all right, how many people are in the Discord? Cool. Now you assume not everybody who joins Beacon is in the Discord, but let's assume the majority are. So let's give them an extra 10,000. So now we're at 30,000, right? That's still a relatively small part of their audience, right? If an episode gets 700,000 views on YouTube and there's 30,000 people on Beacon, the majority is still watching on YouTube and Twitch, right? So those are kind of how I view that when it comes to it. But it also does it. So all that to say, to your point, once again, thank you for the super chat. I think regardless of their if their numbers stayed right where they're at or even dipped a little, they're still doing a campaign 5. These are still wildly successful numbers that give massive sponsorship deals, great ad revenue. Like, this is still plenty of money. And lots of, so yeah, I don't think they're anywhere close to like, oh, this is a flop. Yeah, I don't think we're in that territory. 500,000 views on episode 24. Again, just on YouTube, not including the other numbers, right? If you add in the other ones, it's probably 700,000 or something like that. That's a lot. So, the tables need to interswap players. The parties could be better. I agree with that. Got enough to deal with on C4 to consider C5. Totally valid. I'm trying to scroll down now. I know I talked about that a bit. To be fair, Taliesin came out so hot it was discombobulated. I think he was just trying to get his moment. Muffin, to be fair. I mean, I agree with you. It was like really intense. But I think he was just trying to get his moment because there's so many people at the table. Did you forget to set your super chat target? I did. I did forget to set my super chat target. Dang it. I mean, not that it really matters now. We're nearing the end and all that sort of jazz, but I'll throw it up there. But we should already have like 4 or something like that. Also, any polls now? We have not been doing any polls. I could have been better about that. I need to make one of you a mod. I think you can do polls if you're a mod. To help me with that. Prediction: Robbie spends more time D&Ding during the session than he did last. I think so. Eyeball. I hope so. Eyeball. I really do. Want to know more about Trimus Daconis? Valid, Daniel. Totally valid. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat because I know that tangent put me behind a bit. Vox Machina Series dice look very cool. I don't need more dice, but I'll probably get the vaccine. They do look really cool. They do look really, really cool. I would like to get a couple of those. I also still want to get that freaking jersey. I write notes because my group is definitely one where we go weeks and months without playing. Totally valid, Jay. Totally valid. His home plane? I don't think so, Nikki. I don't think that would be his home plane. Every season, Critic Role is dead. I'm sure people say that, yeah, but that's just not what I'm viewing it. Yeah, they have so many ways that they do it, and they still have so many. And CR is still arguably the biggest. Actually, I don't think it's arguably. I'm pretty sure that they just are. I don't know the Dimension 20 numbers, to be fair, but and they have a lot more going for them in terms of just the overall size of their company with like Amazon Prime TV shows and all that stuff. I think they're fine. Yeah, I think they're totally fine. Tahoe, in terms of Beacon being an app on the TV, that's all stuff they're working on. They made announcements about it. I know they have before, but like they hired a person to be the head of the app who came from another big company. So I think by the end of the year, we're going to get that stuff. I think you're going to be able to do stuff on the TVs and all that. I just looked this up, and fun fact, a group of falcons are called a cast, and a group of nightingales are called a watch. That is pretty neat. See some cross-world DM table interaction with Critical Role, like adventure set in the same world. Brennan DMs one group, Matt another. That would be intense. Hey, Dabs with a 676 super chat says, Gen Con funds just cuz. Appreciate it. Yeah, going to Gen Con, guys. So if you're going to be there, definitely call my name if you see me. And feel free to support me going because it's expensive. What's your ideal table to see play together? Oh, I'd probably say most of the original cast, to be fair, with Robbie. Yeah, there's going to be nostalgia in that. There's going to be just like, that's what I'm more familiar with. That's who has like insane chemistry. That's right. Like, yeah. Oh, I'm getting a cramp in my hamstring. Oh, I played soccer today, guys. Oh, it's showing. Where do you think hypothetical campaign 5 would be set? Back to Exandria or Armon or something else? That's a great question, because I think one of the reasons, there were several, one of the reasons campaign 3 maybe didn't do as well is because, again, new people have a harder time getting into it, right? You get like, oh, I don't have the lore of this. And campaign 3 involved a lot of the other 2 campaigns. So it's harder. Now, it's also what people love and know. So it'd be tough if Matt broke out of it, but maybe he just picks a totally different time in Exandria, and like doesn't make it so, like, I think they need to go in a direction where like it's not important to know all of the stuff from other campaigns and those sorts of things. If they're going to go back to Exandria, I think that's how they need to approach it. So people can just jump in, and that will be marketed. They will need to market it as like, you don't need to know everything about campaign 1, 2, and 3, everything about Exandria. This is being created in a way that it is presentable for anybody who is new to get in. Is my take if they're going to go back to Exandria. I also think we're worried about views. The video's so long, it probably takes a while for a lot of people to catch up. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. We get more over time. Shania would have done better in battle if Kat hadn't taken the magical dagger, leaving her without a weapon. Yeah. The jersey is calling to you. I know. I really do want that jersey. But again, with like everything, I'm just like, is that like, do I need the jersey? Do I need to spend $40 or $50, whatever it is, on that? It's like, no. Ophidian, that triggered me reading that. Would love to see more of D20's players show up in the CR, maybe as guests. A lot of people have talked about that. Do you have a dream guest player? No, when everybody asks me this, I default to Joe Manganiello or whatever his name is, because I just know he loves D&D. He's pretty cool, and he had that crazy you know, Vecna Paladin scene. So I think it would be cool to, like, because that was so like early Critical Role in a way. I mean, not really, but like, you know, I think that'd be a cool callback. When it comes to that. Hey, a level 1 casual with a $4.99 super chat. Thank you. Recent fan. Welcome. Love the content. Whose character are you most interested in? For me, it's Wick. Oh, that's so tough. I think Wick is going to have an insane arc over the campaign. I think Tyranny has the potential to have a great arc over the campaign. But I'm a little less certain about her because Whitney is new and she's figuring it out. But I think Wick is going to have a great arc. Cadigan is the one I'm most interested to learn more about, because he has so much backstory that we know of, because like we know that he gave a ton, and he's held it closest to chest compared to everybody else. Like, we don't know a lot about Teor, but I don't think Travis knows a lot about Teor. Whereas Cadigan has a lot of backstory, and we're just getting drip fed. Like, he has this sort of dark, mysterious, like he had a lady, potentially a child, what happened. But so Cadigan is the one that I'm most interested in learning more about, I would say, to answer that question. And thank you so much for that super chat. I really appreciate that. This season, I've seen real pipeline of critters from all over D20, Amazon, previous seasons. I expect it's going to move regardless of numbers. Yeah. Me too. Groups of critters in my row at the live CR that was introduced CR through the Amazon TV show. Yeah, again, I think that introduced a lot of people. People are like, well, what is this? It's Critical Role. What you should have said, Batson, is how many of you guys know NERDCORE? You should have bought a NERDCORE shirt. I have them. I have NERDCORE shirts, merch below. And you should have just been a freaking walking billboard. Batson, what are we doing? Should everybody be like, hey, have you been to the pre-shows? Have you seen the pre-shows? That's what you should have done. Red Panda, are they gonna have like a group name like Vox Machina Mighty Nine? I hope so, but it's hard when you're doing 3. So yeah, 3 different tables is tough, but I think so. I think they need to. Again, I think that's part of their culture is to have these group names. Let's talk an adult league every Tuesday. It's great for my joints. Yeah, no, I'm just getting back into it. I haven't touched a ball in 8 years, and I've gone out today was my 4th time, but I normally have to give myself a week between. Like, they do Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturday mornings, and I go like once a week, and this is the best I have felt after one, though. I have like I don't know what it's called, hip tilt. So like this shoulder slouches a little bit and this leg is whatever, and it's caused me to like pull my hip flexor, pull my abductor, or they're just always really sore and feel pretty bad afterwards. This is the best I felt, but none of you are here for that, so. Brandon Light says, peak campaign 5 setting back in Exandria far in the future, started the funeral of the last great hero, Chetney. He survived the longest. Lower decks, if you're in the know, these strikes hit so good, but so entertaining, and if you miss them. All the campaign 1, 2, 3 lore felt too daunting to jump in late. It's years worth. Exactly. That's why I think that happened. A group called the Mischiefs Sprigs, because you know that stupid Holly is important. Love to see Zach the Bold move up to the... I mean, I see his skits and stuff, but I don't really know that much more about him. And I've been in a room with him, but I don't know much about him other than his skits. And I don't like see all of them. I know what he's known for. People again, since they're streaming on multiple platforms, the numbers across aren't going to be as big as they were when episodes were only on YouTube, and now with Beacon, it's stretched even more. Well, it was always on Twitch too, right? Really appreciate being with Armand from the... Yeah, exactly, Sir Nerd a lot. I think this helped a lot of people be like, okay, I'm learning the world while they're learning the world. I think that's super, super big. Also, I'm going to throw it out there because we're nearing the end. I might go a minute or two over this time. It's fine. But if you guys haven't already subscribed to the channel, because we have, 270 people in here, please click that sub button. Helps me out a lot, gets more of me in your feed so you see more of my content. If you want to consider becoming a member to help support me making more content like this and trying to stay full-time doing it, it's $5 a month. It gets you no ads on these pre-shows and stuff like that. So hopefully that is something that you will consider. Or subscribe to my Patreon, link down below. You'll get access to my expanded downtime actions list. I have a whole adventure on there. I have NPCs, magic items. There's other stuff that you get on my Patreon with it, but it's also another way to support if you want to do that. Or if you have Amazon Prime, you have Twitch Prime, which means you can subscribe for free on my Twitch, twitch.tv/NERDCORE. Have we covered what everyone's snacks are tonight? No, but people can share that in the chat. Fangs and Feathers would be a trippy fan lib book. Fangs and Feathers is pretty good. All right. Just saw a theory today on Tumblr that Cadigan and Wolfric are a failed druid reincarnation where their soul was split. That's why the hounds are created in 50 pages of unknown backstory. I don't like it, Marissa. Halbrook says, first time viewer, what are the odds they switch to Daggerheart for campaign 5? I think it's possible if Daggerheart it does really well. Like if Daggerheart grows and becomes more of a legitimate contender and is more widely accepted and has more content, yes. If it stays the exact way it is right now, no. That's my take on it. I think if it continue, like if it gets a lot bigger over the next 2 years, let's say this last 2 years, yes. I don't think they would swap to it as it stands right now. I don't think it's popular enough. I love Lou to come back. Wonder Edition to Calamity. Oh yeah, I'm with that. Around episode 15-ish, I started a pre-episode ritual of rolling my own importance to predict the episodes. Oh, that's neat. I like that. Oh guys, and also join the Discord. Discord is linked down below as well. I have a section dedicated to actual plays, and one of the channels is the Critical Role live chat for campaign 4. So once we leave here, you guys can talk in there during the episode. We always have moments where everybody's like, yo, that was crazy, and everybody's hyped about it, or somebody asks a question like, wait, who was that, or what did they just say? People can talk about it. It's a great way to continue to have dialogue and enjoy community with the episodes when I'm not live. So feel free to join the Discord. It's linked down below. Claire says, personally, this campaign is what brought me back to CR. I love the world and what Brennan is doing with it. Great chat as always. Have a good night. Hey, peace out, Muffin. I saw someone's comment about Zach being guest star after Umbra, and I agree he'd be astounding for a guest appearance. Feel people really sleep on him. Again, I'm just not that informed. Dots, pretzels, and beer. Gonna try to watch the first. Well, you didn't say if you really enjoyed the live show. I'm curious about that. Feel free to put in the Discord or something if that's it. You're running a bit late. Catch on the recaps. Yep. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap out of here. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you. This has been fun. Again, like it. Leave comments, leave whatever, watch my content if you see it, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the episode. I will be in the Discord. All the recaps and reviews. Hey, well, Ron, welcome to the pre-show, man. You're catching it right at the very end, but I normally run them from 7:45 Eastern to 9:45 Eastern. They're a good time, so feel free to come and hang out with some more, join the Discord, all that stuff. Thank you guys. Appreciate the rest of you for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.